Hello everyone, this is your guy Rajat Saxena from rajatstudio.com. So in my previous video, we have talked about how we can create objects in JavaScript. So this is the continuation of that particular video tutorial, and today we are going to talk about how we can actually create inheritance in JavaScript. So JavaScript is a prototypical language. So inheritance is possible in JavaScript using prototype chains. So what are prototypes and how we can actually use it? So instead of giving you any definition about the topic, I would like to describe the prototypical chains and prototypical inheritance in JavaScript using an example. So let's get started. To do that, we are going to use our favorite tool, that is Node, right? So we are going to launch Node here. Now, let's suppose our inheritance chain that is occurring in our nature, that is, we are of type animals. You can say that humans are a type of animal and there are other animals apart from human species, right? So it is a kind of inheritance. We are inheriting from our parent animal class. So we can try to emulate that behavior in JavaScript, and let's see how we can do it. So let's start with the creation of animal object, which can have properties like type, and the default type can be mammal. And let's create one function as well to get the type. Okay, so this return this dot type. Here this is going to refer this particular instance. So this dot type is going to return the type of this object, which is mammal as of now. So we are done with the creation of our animal object. Now, how we can actually create an inheritance out of it? So let's suppose there is a human object, okay, and we are going to write a function which takes a name as an input and assign this input name to the instance variable which is also having the same name. So human can have this name property. Okay, so let's create this. Now humans is inheriting from class animal, but as of now we have not established any kind of relation between these two entities. Okay, so one is the object and this one is a function. This type of functions are known as constructor functions because we are going to use this particular function along with the new clause, and it is used to create copies or separate instances of this particular object. Okay, so whenever we want to create a new human, we are going to call this function with a new keyword. Okay, so now it's time to establish a inheritance chain between these two entities. Okay, so how can we do it? So there is this thing known as prototypes in JavaScript. So human dot prototype is going to be animal. So every JavaScript object has a prototype, and by default it is object.prototype. Okay, and since we are going to override the prototype for our human entity or human function, now it is going to point to this animal object. So human will be having properties from our animal objects. So let's do this. Okay, so let's try to print what human is. Human is a function, and specifically it's a constructor function. Okay, so now we are done establishing a chain between our entities, and how can we actually generate new humans based on our inheritance chain. Okay, so to do that, let's suppose I want to create a person name or a human name as Rajat. So how can I do it? For Rajat equals to new human as we have talked before, and I'm going to input Rajat as the name of this human. Okay, so Rajat has a property name and that property's value is Rajat. Okay, so we have successfully created a new human which has this name Rajat. Okay, so let's suppose we want to create another human. Okay, we can do it using the same thing, and let's try to print it as well. So name is Sita. Let's try to check whether these two instances are equal or not. They are not. So clearly these two are different entities or objects. Okay, now what is the use of making animal the prototype of human? Since human is a subclass or a sub-object of this animal, it will inherit, or it has already inherited these properties from its parent object. So if we are going to type Rajat.type, it is going to print mammal because it has inherited all of the property of its parent, and same is the case with Sita. Okay, and we have also got this get type method as well. So that is how inheritance works in JavaScript. Now let's suppose you want to iterate over the properties of our object. To do that, we can write something like for var I in our object, and let's print all of the properties. Okay, but as you have noticed, we have got this type and get type properties. That is not the properties of our object, but in fact they are the properties of the prototype of our Rajat object, right? So JavaScript has looked into the prototypical chain which actually points to this object, and it has actually derived these two properties from its parent object. So what in case when we don't want to list down properties from the prototypical chains and we are just concerned about the properties of our object? To do that, we have a function has own property. So let's see how we can use it. Rajat.has own property name, and we get the value true because Rajat has this property name in it. Okay, but if we are going to check the same for type, we will get false because type is coming from the prototypical parent of our human object. Okay, so how can we iterate over the properties which are coming from our object itself and not from the prototypical chain? We can write the iteration using this has own property. So to do that, Rajat dot has own property and I console.log I, and I know that I have missed an if condition and I'm going to correct it. If, okay, as you can see that we have successfully iterated over the actual properties of our object and excluded the prototypical chains from getting listed here. Okay, so that is all about prototypes, and now I think that you will be able to create inheritances and hierarchies in JavaScript. If you have any suggestions regarding things I have missed in this tutorial, you can leave a comment below and maybe I will try to cover those topics in my later videos. Also make sure that you subscribe to this channel because I produce quality tutorials regarding JavaScript and Android and full stack development and career advices relating to software development. If you like this video,
Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.